let's get on to Disney Plus recommendation. So since everyone is sort of looking for something to watch nowadays, I pick a different streaming service to do every week, and I go through and find picks, and I have a guest on, this time being LC ScreenTalk, and I will get to him later in the show, but I will give my picks, and then he will give his picks as well, just to help you find something to watch on Disney Plus. So, I know this is the big Mulan premium access thing. I'm not going to suggest you do that. I have not done it, so I'm not going to suggest you do either. I know that's rather expensive, but there's a lot of other things to watch on Disney Plus. One thing I am finding, as I think this is maybe my third or something video of Disney Plus recommendations, is there's really not a lot on there, and it's sort of hard to keep coming up with a list of things because they don't really add enough that's recommendable. So I'm kind of running out of options, particularly like they have a vast library of shorts which they still don't release a lot of. So I think going through them and having to pick different things every month or 2 months or so kind of shows the real weakness in the service, to be honest with you. But regardless of that, the first thing I'm going to recommend is the animated Mulan, which was really great. I watched that this week. There'll be a review coming soon. It's obviously, a classic part of sort of the 90s Disney tradition. I think probably one of the better ones in the late 90s. As well as I'd recommend the Wolverine, which just came on Disney Plus. They don't seem to have X-Men Origins. Well, I don't know. It's sort of not the greatest searchability on the service, but I saw they had the Wolverine. I know people don't love that, but I'm fine with it. The bullet train sequence is actually quite good. I also wanted to recommend Hercules. I don't have a review of that coming out soon, but we've been watching it lately. And Hercules is actually really great. As well as the Phineas and Ferb movie, Phineas and Ferb Candace Against the Universe. It's not the greatest thing, and I don't think I gave it an entirely positive review, but if you're a Phineas and Ferb fan, it's at least worth a watch. It's fun enough, as well as they do have Phineas and Ferb on there every episode. So if you've never seen Phineas and Ferb and are confused like why they're promoting this movie so much, you can actually go and check that out on this service. As well as the Toy Story short, Party Saurus Rex. I just picked this randomly because I always like this one. It's kind of a fun one, and we don't get enough stories about Rex from Toy Story, so it's fun. A Mickey Mouse short called Mickey's Rival, which I've also sort of liked. I like to have some shorts in here, and that one's on there. That's one of the more classic Mickey Mouse shorts. Also, I don't know if I've done Darkwing Duck before, but I've sometimes about once a month or so I end up watching a Darkwing Duck episode on my phone through Disney Plus. It's always fun to have that there, so there you go. As well as the documentary. They have a lot of good behind-the-scenes documentaries on here, actually. And there's two I'm going to recommend. One is Frank and Ollie, about two of the 9 old men. If you're wondering who they are, and you probably actually do know, in The Incredibles, they're the two guys who said, like, oh, old school like the old school. That's Frank and Ollie. It's a great documentary. You should check it out. They don't have as many of their great animation documentaries as they should, but Frank and Ollie's one that's like a must-watch, especially if you're a Disney animation fan. Also, Into the Unknown, The Making of Frozen 2. I haven't finished this, but so far, what I've seen from it, I actually do really like. It's certainly a Disney-sanctioned thing, but it's actually way better than it has any right to be, and really going through the difficulty in actually making Frozen 2. If you're interested in behind-the-scenes documentaries, I would actually definitely take a look, even if you didn't like Frozen 2. One thing I found interesting, so I looked up, I saw that they have Spiderman, the 1994 show. They listed as one season, even though they have all 65, 64 episodes. Not sure why they did that, but they're all on there. It's not the greatest Spider-Man show, but it's probably better than people remember it for. I think most people just think about, the Spectacular Spider-Man, but it's all right. As well as Bow, whatever, about, I think we all remember the whole thing with that and the mom and the kind of like, dumpling. I like that short, so I'm going to recommend it. As well as two I've probably recommended before, but why not? Muppet Treasure Island, which is obviously, great, kind of really lovable, really nice short, really nice movie, sorry. One of the more favorite nice Muppet movies that's on there. And Willow, which is a personal favorite of mine, even though it's probably not that good. So, let's now go to LC ScreenTalk, and thank you very much for being here, sir.
First of all, thank you so much, Jim, for inviting me onto your channel to give my personal recommendations on what to watch from Disney Plus. Now, my name is Larry from the channel LC Screen Talk, in which I talk about movies here on YouTube. And dwindling this down to just 5 recommendations was pretty much impossible. So I hope you don't mind that I threw in some honorable mentions before we begin. First, especially with recent events, how could I not highlight Black Panther? It's obviously a great film to commemorate the life of Chadwick Boseman and remember the huge impact he had on the world of cinema and culture at large. Out is a short film that takes a fantastical look on one man's journey on coming out to his parents about who he truly is. It's a wonderful, delightful, short film that I think everyone should at least give a watch. Whispers an Elephant Tale may not be the best movie on Disney+, but it's one near and dear to my heart about this little elephant who learns to find his trumpet. It is the old school style of real animals dubbed over the top with human voices. But Whispers is such a cute, heartfelt tale that defines my childhood. Onward is the latest Pixar film that I think people gave too hard of a rap on, and it didn't get the attention it deserves. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely, it's worth your time to check out on Disney+. And finally, if you're a superhero fan, an oft-overlooked superhero film from the 90s is The Rocketeer. Before the big boom and bombastic films we have today dominated the box office, superhero films were often seen as a niche market, and The Rocketeer takes a more realistic, small-scale approach and gives a whole lot of heart in the process. My first official recommendation is Beauty and the Beast, the 1991 animated classic. I had to include this because it is my favorite animated film of all time, and quite possibly my favorite film on Disney Plus altogether. This is the only animated film to get a Best Picture nomination when we only had 5 nominees, in addition to actually being an Oscar winner itself. This film is stunning and really is revolutionary when we look at the development of animation to get to the point where we have 3D animation as we know it. Beauty and the Beast was one of the first cutting-edge animated films to blend the ideas of traditional animation with this new and upcoming technology of 3D animation. But we all know Beauty and the Beast, so just in case you need a reminder of why it's so amazing, I definitely recommend giving it either your first watch or yet another. Next up, I have The One and Only Ivan, which is actually one of the newest titles. You might tell I deeply love animals as we move through my list, but The One and Only Ivan is a pure, beautiful, wholesome, entertaining film that is quite a bit more heartfelt and just better than it first seems. We follow the true life story of Ivan, the painting/drawing gorilla. The messaging varies. The messaging is really important and impactful, and yes, they hit you in the heart. They grab those feels and shake them all about by the end of this one. It's all executed very well. One of the best feel-good movies of 2020. Who doesn't need that right now? My next recommendation is X-Men, the animated series. Yes, all 5 seasons are now up on Disney+, and I cannot recommend you watch this series enough. Oh, I love X-Men, the animated series. As I was reading the comics, I was growing up watching this cartoon on TV. I bought the VHS set. It's a big reason Storm became my favorite superhero, period. If you want to see the X-Men in their full glory, powers galore, their true selves on screen, check this series out if you haven't. And if you loved the films, I think you're really going to have a good time with this. It's well written. The animation is certainly a bit dated, but it's just so much fun and so well executed. How can you not love it? Next up, I have one of 2020's Disney nature films. I'll be recommending Dolphina Reef. This film has had quite the journey to even see a release, as it was meant to come out titled Dolphins a couple of years back to the big screen. Disney releases these Disney nature, children-friendly animal documentaries every year around Earth Day. But Dolphins got swiped off the calendar, inconspicuously released in France to theaters, and then we didn't hear about it until about a week before it came to Disney+. But But I love the Disney Nature series. Most all of those films could be plugged into this recommendation list, but Dolphin Reef certainly gives a new vibrancy. It is one of their new releases. Dolphins have this great charisma and humor to them automatically, and that makes for really entertaining watching. And even someone like me who watches nature documentaries for fun learns some new things through this family-friendly nature doc. And my final recommendation for this video is Sister Act, the 90s classic. Oh, who doesn't love Sister Act? If you want to know why Whoopi Goldberg is still a mainstay, legendary name in the game, check out this film. She's coming off of films like The Color Purple or Ghost, and she delivers this exuberant comedic masterclass of a performance. The songs are catchy, the spirit is uplifting, and the laughs keep coming consistently. Once again, if you're looking for some smiles and for some laughs in these dark times of 2020, Sister Act is certainly the perfect remedy and is now streaming on Disney+. Those are my recommendations for what you can watch right now on Disney+. Once again, thank you so much, Jim, for inviting me over onto the channel. I can't wait to hear what you're recommending to the folks over on Disney+.
Okay. Thank you very much, LC Screen Talk, for being on the show. And thank you for your Disney Plus recommendations. Please check out his channel. It's a really cool YouTube channel. Makes some great stuff over there. So please subscribe to him. I'm very much asking you. Call to action. Subscribe to LC Screen Talk. Thank you so much. That dolphin documentary I'd never heard of. So that actually sounds really cool, to be honest with you. Because it sounds like we didn't really hear much about it, so it's interesting to hear stuff on Disney Plus we hadn't heard about before, as well as the X-Men animated series is a great pick because of about Cyclops this past week. Anyway, if you are looking for something to watch on Disney Plus or something to watch in general, I hope our picks helped you out. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe to his channel, and comment below if you have something that you would like to watch on Disney Plus and you want people to know about. Below in this video. Thank you very much, everyone who watched. Thank you again, LC Screen Talk, and I will see you next time.